slip of paper. Holding it tightly by one corner, he hurried back to his place in the crowd, standing a little apart from his family and not looking at it. "Alan," Mr. Summers called. "Anderson. Bentham." "There doesn't seem to be much time between lotteries anymore," Mrs. Delacroix said to Mrs. Greaves in the back row. "It feels like we just did the last one last week." "Time really does fly," Mrs. Greaves replied. "Clark. Delacroix." "That's mine," Mrs. Delacroix said, holding her breath as her husband stepped forward. When Mr. Summers called, "Dunbar," Mrs. Dunbar moved toward the box. A woman encouraged her, "Go on, Janie," while another added, "There she goes." "It's our turn now," Mrs. Greaves said, watching as Mr. Graves circled the box, nodded seriously to Mr. Summers, and then drew a small slip of paper. By now, all around the crowd men were holding tiny slips tightly in their large hands, nervously turning them over. Mrs. Dunbar stood with her two sons, holding a slip herself. "Harbert. Hutchinson." Mrs. Hutchinson called to her husband, "Come on out, Bill." Those near her laughed. "Jones. They say," Mr. Adams began, turning to Old Man Warner beside him, "that in the northern village they're thinking of getting rid of the lottery." Old Man Warner sniffed disapprovingly. "A pack of fools," he said. "Look at the young people, nothing satisfies them. Next thing you know, they'll be living in caves, nobody working, just living off the land. There used to be a saying, 'Lottery in June, corn ready soon.' Then we'd eat boiled beans and acorns. The lottery was always there," he grumbled. "Even young Joe Summers joking with everyone is bad enough. They've already abandoned the lottery in some places," Mr. Adams said. "It'll end badly," Old Man Warner said. "A pack of foolish young people." Bobby Martin watched his father step forward. "Overdyke. Percy. Hurry up now," Mrs. Dunbar said to her son. "Hurry up now." "Almost done," her son replied. "Go tell your father what's happening," Mrs. Dunbar said. Mr. Summers read his own name, stepped forward, and drew a slip from the box. Then he called, "Warner. This is my 77th lottery," Warner said as he stepped out from the crowd. "77th time. Watson." The tall young man stepped forward awkwardly. "Take it easy, Jack," someone called, and Mr. Summers said, "No rush, son. Zanini." Then a long silence fell, so quiet that you could hear no one breathe, until Mr. Summers raised the slip of paper in the air and said, "All set, folks." For a moment, nobody moved, and then all the slips were opened at once. All the women spoke at once. Who was it? Who got it? The Dunbars? The Watsons, followed by voices shouting, "It's the Hutchinsons." "Bill. It's Bill." Mrs. Dunbar told her eldest son, "Go, run and tell your father." The crowd began scanning around, looking for the Hutchinsons. Bill Hutchinson stood quietly, head bowed, staring at the slip in his hand. Suddenly, Tessie Hutchinson shouted at Mrs. Summers, "You didn't give him enough time to choose the slip he wanted. I saw you. This isn't fair." "Don't be a sore loser, Tessie," Mrs. Delacroix called. Mrs. Graves added, "We all had an equal chance." "Shut up, Tessie," said Bill Hutchinson. "All right, folks," Mr. Summers said, "we've gotten this done pretty quickly. If we keep up the pace, everything will finish on time." He glanced at his second list. "Bill," he said, "you'll draw for all the Hutchinsons. Is there another household in your family?" "Don and Eva," Tessie called out. "They should try their luck too." "Girls draw with their husband's family, Tessie," Mr. Summers said politely. "You know that, just like everyone else here." "This isn't fair," Tessie protested. "I don't think there's anyone else, Joe," Bill Hutchinson said sadly. Of course my daughter draws with her husband's family, that's perfectly fair. Besides the kids, I don't have any other relatives. Then you'll be drawing for the whole family, Mr. Summers explained. You'll be drawing for your household, right? Yes, Bill Hutchinson confirmed. How many children do you have, Bill? Mr. Summers asked formally. Bill, Jr., and Nancy. And little Dave. And me with Tessie, Bill replied. All right then, said Mr. Summers. Harry, did you collect the slips? Mr. Graves nodded, lifting the slips in his hand. Put them in the box, then, Mr. Summers said. Take Bill's and drop it in. I think we should start over, Tessie Hutchinson said as quietly as she could. This isn't fair. You didn't give enough time. Everyone saw it. Mr. Graves picked 5 slips and placed them in the box, leaving the others on the ground. The slips on the ground were caught by a breeze and fluttered into the air. Tessie Hutchinson muttered to those around her, I'm telling everyone, listen. Ready, Bill? Mr. Summers asked, and Bill Hutchinson gave a quick nod to his wife and children. Remember, said Mr. Summers, draw 1 slip at a time, and don't open it until everyone has had their turn. Harry, help little Dave. Mr. Graves held the child's hand, and the little boy eagerly walked with him to the box. Draw 1 slip from the box, Davy, said Mr. Summers. Davy dipped his hand into the box and laughed. Just 1, okay, said Mr. Summers. Harry, you hold the little ones. Mr. Graves took the slip from the boy's clenched fist. Little Dave watched it with curious eyes as he held it carefully in his hand. Next, Nancy, said Mr. Summers. Nancy was 12 years old, and as she stepped forward, swishing her skirt, her school friends held their breath. She gracefully drew a slip from the box. Bill, Jr., called Mr. Summers. Red-faced and with huge feet, Billy nearly tipped the box as he drew his slip. Tessie, Mr. Summers called. Mrs. Hutchinson paused for a moment, looked defiantly around, pursed her lips, and reached into the box. She quickly drew a slip and tucked it behind her. Bill, said Mr. Summers, and Bill Hutchinson dipped his hand into the box, hesitated for a moment, and finally drew a slip. The crowd was silent. A girl whispered, I hope it's not Nancy, but her voice carried to the far side of the crowd. Things aren't like they used to be, Elder Warner said aloud, so everyone could hear. People aren't like they used to be. All right, said Mr. Summers. Open the slips. Harry, open little Dave's too. Mr. Graves opened the slip, and when the crowd saw it was blank, a collective sigh of relief went up. Nancy and Bill, Jr. opened theirs at the same time, both faces lighting up as they raised their slips to show the crowd, smiling. Mr. Summers said, Tessie. There was a brief silence, and he looked at Mr. Hutchison. Bill opened his slip and held it up for the crowd. It was blank. It's Tessie, Mr. Summers said quietly. Show her slip too, Bill. Bill Hutchison went to his wife and forcibly took the slip from her hand. A black mark was on it, the mark Mr. Summers had made the night before in the coal company office with a pencil. Bill Hutchison held the slip up, and a stir ran through the crowd. All right, folks, said Mr. Summers, let's finish this quickly. Even if the villagers had forgotten the ritual-like rules of the past, even if the first black box had been lost, they still remembered the stones. The children's stones, piled aside early, were ready. On the ground, among them, were stones that had been tossed along with the slips just drawn from the box. Mrs. Delacroix picked up a stone with both hands and called to Mrs. Dunbar, come on, hurry. Mrs. Dunbar had small stones in both hands, panting. I can't run, it's impossible, go ahead, I'll catch up, she said. The children had already prepared their stones. One of them even put a few pebbles into little Davy Hutchison's hand. Tessie Hutchison stood in the center of the crowd, her hands raised helplessly. It's not fair, she cried. A stone struck the side of her head. Old Warner shouted, "Come on, everyone, together." Steve Adams was at the front of the crowd, with Mrs. Graves right behind him. "It's not fair. This is wrong," Tessie Hutchison shouted, and at that moment, they all surged upon her.